we're excited to see those amenities come to life. We think the residents are going to enjoy them.
Look, it's one of the coolest parts of my job and my leadership team's job is being able to contribute to the communities that we operate in. These are communities that they're on our fence line every day. They're with us in good times and bad. And actually, you know, this is the part of my job that I enjoy the most, just the opportunity to give back and to really see some good for the community from what we do.
It's awesome. It makes me, I guess, proud of the company we work for, seeing that Pectin, but it makes me more excited. My little girls love the park. They love the one we have already, so a new park is super exciting for us, and I'm sure we'll spend a lot of time here. It makes me proud to be a Shell employee, but also, you know, living in Norco makes me feel good that they got our backs, and no matter what, I know they're there.
When you look at a place where you can have kind of a one-stop shop for parks and recreation, it's a great place to be, and it's going to be a really nice park for the residents. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, September 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance from Pastor Thomas Hines with the Hope Church in Destrehan.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. I always receive this invitation as an honor, and so thank you. Let's pray. Father, we love you. We thank you for this day. We thank you, God, that you've given us another day to serve your purpose, Lord, in St. Charles Parish. We pray, Lord, that for wisdom, we pray for guidance, pray for direction. God, we pray, Lord, that you would help us to do, Lord, the big work that you've called us to do it effectively, to do it with purpose. Lord, we pray that the things that are not supposed to happen, Lord, we pray that those things that would be a deterrence, that would hinder the work that's supposed to happen, Lord, that you would help us to see that, help us to work that out, help us to move forward. I pray for unity, Lord, not only among our leaders, but in our community, to help us as the citizens to see, Lord, the big picture. And Lord, I pray for those that are receiving proclamations today that, Lord, that are making a difference, that are serving the events, the opportunities in our community that are serving to make a difference for us, for our citizens, and for St. Charles Parish. I pray your blessing. And Lord, I pray a final blessing, Lord, spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, relationally, financially, Lord, every area of our life, God, that you would bless us and help us, lead us forward. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, thank you, Pastor Hines. Before we move on, I have a few things I'd like to cover because this meeting is going to go kind of long, and I'd like to get this done. A lot's happened since the last time we met. Hurricanes, storms, and that. I just want to express my sincere thanks to our parish employees, our administration staff, our parish president, my fellow council members. This was your first one. I hope you never have to go through it again. But the communication and the teamwork that I saw, I think makes our residents proud. We were taking care of them, and I want to say thank you for that. Ms. Eberstadt, you and your staff through the whole time, thank y'all for what you've done. Our residents, I mean, I saw residents helping residents out. It's amazing out there. That's the kind of thing that we need to make St. Charles Parish strong. I know several of our friends and family and residents have repeated losses. We have that, we know that. It breaks my heart. Several council members up here and several council member family members have been through it. We know what it is. Don't think we don't know the frustrations with it. All I can do is tell them to be patient, do the right things, do your due diligence, take advantage of the programs. We're going to help you. We're going to do it. We've committed to it. But every time we have a rainfall event that comes like this, we're going to have these issues. And all I'm asking is that the negativity stops. The Facebook bullying, the calling out of the parish president in emails, the calling out of council members, people commenting on things they have no idea about, nor do they take the time to look and educate themselves. We have a very full website. Every council member is available via phone or email if you have a question. It shouldn't result to the fact that somebody sees a Facebook post and says, "Oh, what project's going on by my house?" Again, I know it's frustration, and I know it just breeds in negative comments, but you know what? St. Charles Parish is better than that. We're constantly improving. So, again, my sincere thanks to my fellow council members, parish president, the public works, the administration staff. Hopefully we don't have to do this again. So, thank you for indulging me. All right, let's move on. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of September 9th. I have a motion by Ms. Skiba, second by Mr. Bruyere. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously, excuse me. Special business proclamations, canvass returns, etc. 2024-0290 is going to be a board of review. As advertised by the assessor in the official journal, the assessment list has been exposed daily for inspection by the taxpayers and other interested persons for a period of 15 calendar days. The assessor has certified the assessment list to the council, acting as a board of review to receive any written or oral complaints from taxpayers desiring to protest their assessment prior to 4 p.m. on Monday, September 16th. Mr. Wu, would you please explain the council's role in this board of review?
Yes, thank you, Councilman Fisher. Pursuant to the Louisiana Constitution, local governments in Louisiana are authorized to impose ad valorem taxes on property, both immovable and corporeal movable property. The tax assessor for St. Charles Parish has to comply with criteria pursuant to the Louisiana Constitution when he assesses those properties, and those properties are subject to a procedural review. The Board of Review for each parish and this hearing is constitutionally mandated in that process. The St. Charles Parish Council, sitting as the St. Charles Parish Board of Review, will consider any protests, any appeals. In doing so, they need to consider what the St. Charles Parish Board of Review must consider whether the St. Charles Parish assessor abused his discretion in considering a property owner's request for adjusting the fair market value. Under Louisiana law, that discretion for the St. Charles Parish assessor is great. So this Board of Review sits here today to establish whether any protest on the fair market value in Mr. Trosclair's assessment, whether he abused that, that discretion. At the hearing, sitting as the Board of Review, the parish needs to consider whose burden of proof. And in this review process, the burden of proof is on the owner who is protesting to establish that that the assessor abused any discretion. If there's any questions along the way, I'll be fair to answer those questions. After the Board of Review makes its decision and votes, there is a process for appeal to the tax commission, et cetera. So this is just a long step in the road for this appeals process.
Thank you, Mr. Wu. I'm sure we'll have a couple questions along here. All right, the Board of Review received the following appeals. Walgreens, 13500 Highway 90 Boutique. Jasmine LLC, Walgreens, 13500 13,500 Highway 90 Boutique. Village Shopping Center Partnership, O'Reilly Auto Parts, 13352 Highway 90 Boutique, Louisiana. The Monsanto Company, 12501 River Road in Luling. If there's anyone present representing these properties, would you like to come up and speak, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. So I think first on our list is going to be Walgreens, 13500 Highway 90. All righty, seeing none, we'll move to the next one. Jasmine LLC, Walgreens, 13500 Highway 90 Boutique, Louisiana. All right, seeing none, we'll move to the third one. Village Shopping Center Partnership, O'Reilly Auto Parts, 13352 Highway 90 Boutique. Seeing none, we'll move to our fourth one. Monsanto Company, 12501 River Road, Luling, Louisiana.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is William Marchbanks of Ducharme McMillan and Associates, representing Monsanto Company. Per Title 61, Section 2501H, Monsanto is requesting consideration for obsolescence on their Luling plant. I guess let me back up. Has everybody had a chance? I brought copies of our bill work papers. Would y'all like me to pass them out? Or do you?
Is that in our agenda?
Apologies. Should have had enough copies. I apologize if I lost any on the way. So the attachments that we just passed out that were submitted with our Form 3101 provides more, starts off with more of an outline, then some more detailed information on this request. And we're not going to go through it word by word. Again, appreciate everybody's time on a Monday night. So per Section 2501, subsection H, we want consideration for obsolescence. And we have been working with Assessor Troxler and his staff since last year to be very transparent and appreciate their time. We had them out to the plant and then a subsequent meeting at their office. And where this stems from is the impact to a number of things, which all fall into that definition of obsolescence. But they've realized a negative 20%, 26% decline in the revenue and a negative 70% in gross margins. And so we start looking at what causes this. And it starts with competition. And the only real competition this Luling plant has is in China. And at the onset of COVID, demand actually increased, and it increased the value or the price of the chemical. And so what that triggered at the time, China did not have any of their plants going, or at least with this specific mix. When they saw the price increase, they fired up all of their plants and started producing and flooded the market. And what that's done is driven down the prices for glyphosate and makes it almost impossible for a plant in America to be profitable at those low prices. In addition to that, we've all seen there's extraordinary liabilities. And if you've seen your commercials at nighttime, you'll know what I'm talking about, and those go into pretty high Bs. But what that has led to, and what we are calculating this obsolescence request on, is an impairment that was recognized at the end of 2023 on their glyphosate business, crop science. So what they did is they recognized a $792.5 million impairment. And let me explain a little bit about what an impairment is. That happens, and companies don't want it to happen. It's very bad. When the market value of an asset, like equipment or buildings, drops below the amount it's currently listed for in a company's financial records. So the carrying cost of the plant is being overstated, so they have to recognize an impairment, which is all outlined throughout this information I've provided. So we've seen a significant drop in business and revenues and additional extraordinary liabilities that have resulted in this impairment. And so what we did is we took the portion of the impairment that was attributable to the tangible taxable assets at the plant, and then to remain in accordance with the Louisiana guidelines, we applied the composite factor to that impairment, which resulted in a reduction adjustment of $146 million. So it's currently at $665 million, and what we are requesting is a $519,324,453. We are continuing our discussions with Assessor Troxler and provide whatever additional information he may need, as well as an expert appraisal report to further justify this. But we're just asking for your consideration here today. Again, I didn't want to have to read this out to you all on a Monday night, but are there any questions at all about that so far? Or that's probably about it, if not.
All righty. Thank you, Mr. Marchbanks. I believe Ms. O'Daniels has a question for you.
Yes, thank you, sir. Could you clarify whether the scope of your appeal is contained in the package you just handed to us here? We're talking about the
Yes.
Personal property,
Yes.
and that's the extent of your appeal.
Yes.
Okay.
On the personal property, it includes some of the manufacturing items or leasehold improvements as well, but yes, personal property.
Ms. O'Daniels, do you have any more questions? Okay.
No, thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
Does anyone have some more questions for Mr. Marchbanks? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Troxler, would you come up and give us your assessment on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Review. I appreciate your time as well, and I appreciate Monsanto's and Mr. Marchbanks' time as well. We have been working, as he mentioned, very closely with Monsanto and the firm that's representing them, and we've been, and this is not, I just want to let the council, the Board of Review know that this is not a one-time thing. We have been going back and corresponding with the company for quite some time to work through this particular case, and I've got a lot of correspondence, which I'm not going to go through, but I do have it here. Basically, a couple things where the disagreement is. In total, Monsanto is recognized, as he mentioned, $792.5 million financial impairment, of which they've basically taken 491 million of that and have basically placed that at the Luling facility. And of that, another was 146 million was being requested off of equipment and things that are at the site because of this impairment. And as we explained to the taxpayer, that we neither agree nor disagree. We're not even taking a position on whether that occurred or not. But simply as the assessor, I do not have the burden of proof. They have not provided, in our best judgment and professional opinion, they have not provided the evidence to connect the $146 million loss to actual property at the Monsanto facility here in Luling. So again, we're making no decision on whether or not the property is reduced to whatever it's, they're basically their argument. We're not even arguing with their argument. The problem is that there's not enough data. They have not provided enough data to meet our burden of proof and what we believe is a professional standard of appraisal practice. So that's where we are. And in terms of the economic obsolescence, which is being requested as part of this as well, the best analogy I came up with is that Ms. Skiba has a snowball stand and she has a snowball machines, and I think those things run about $9,000. And Mr. Mobley has one, and I got 2 snowball stands. Y'all bought the same machine from Snow Wizard in New Orleans. They're both $9,000 a piece. And Mr. Mobley's making better flavors than yours, or for whatever reason you're not making anything. The question is, what is the value of the property, which is the machinery? And we think you can swap that machinery. We're not taxing the value of Roundup. We're not the IRS. We're not looking to do income tax. We do look to those things, obviously, for economic obsolescence, but we just don't see the burden of proof being met. And it's my recommendation to the Board of Review to deny this request and stay with the current valuation. I do want to point to one thing I think which is really interesting. Just kind of show you your part in this. Basically, Monsanto will be paying about $200,000 more in taxes than they did last year. But had it not been for the taxing bodies cutting the millage rates, they actually would have been paying $1.1 million. So this council and other taxing authorities have already, due to your diligence in reducing taxes within the parish, have actually saved this facility $900,000. So I just want to bring that forth because we'll let you know as a parish-wide elected official, we've done our due diligence working carefully with them, and we'll continue to work with them. And I know that this council will continue. It's not an anti-industry stance. We're just working to be fair. So again, I'll just request that that be denied this evening.
All right, thank you, Mr. Troxel, appreciate it. Is there any further council discussion? Okay, seeing none, I need a motion and a second to accept and certify the 2024 assessment rolls as amended. Not amended, as presented, correct?
As presented, as certified by the assessor.
As presented. Let me take a motion and a second to accept and certify the 2024 tax rolls as accepted, as submitted by the assessor to Louisiana Tax Commission. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Mr. Brouillet. Please cast your votes to accept and certify the 2024 tax assessment roll as submitted by the assessor to the Louisiana Tax Commission. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Troxler.
Thank you.
Mr. Marshall, thank you all for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, 2024-0306, in recognition. Jade Elizabeth Shobon, 2024, Miss Alligator Festival Queen. Miss Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Whereas Jade Elizabeth Shobo is a resident of St. James Parish residing in Paulina, Louisiana. She is the daughter of Todd and Tiffany Shobo and sister of Brittany, Christian, and Cody. And whereas on Sunday, September 8, 2024, Jade was crowned 2024 Miss Alligator Festival Queen at the Alligator Festival pageant held at Hornville High School in Booty. And whereas Jade will represent St. Charles Parish the Alligator Festival, and a Rotary Club of St. Charles Parish at several fairs and festivals throughout Louisiana. Now therefore be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby offer this tribute in recognition to Jade Elizabeth Showboat, 2024 Miss Alligator Festival Queen.
One more. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank you all. It's an honor to be able to represent St. Charles Parish, the Rotary Club, and the Alligator Festival for the next year. I hope to see you all there this Thursday through Sunday. Thank you.
All righty, 2024-0307, in recognition, Miley Grace Daly, 2024 Teen Alligator Festival Queen, Ms. Skiba.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whereas Miley Grace Daly is a resident of St. James Parish, residing in Paulina, Louisiana. She is the daughter of Holly Allen and sister of Layla and Sloan. And whereas on Sunday, September 8th, 2024, Miley was crowned 2024 Teen Alligator Festival Queen at the Alligator Festival pageant held at Hahnville High School in Booty. And whereas Miley will represent St. Charles Parish, the Alligator Festival, and the Rotary Club of St. Charles Parish at several fairs and festivals throughout Louisiana. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby offer this tribute and recognition to Miley Grace Daly, 2024 Teen Alligator Festival Queen. Miley, you're to accept.
Good evening. I'm very honored and very excited to represent this festival and the Rotary Club, and I also hope to see y'all at the festival this weekend.
All right, 2024-0308, a proclamation, Alligator Weekend in St. Charles Parish. In recognition, Mr. Charlie Chauvin, Mr. Alligator. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas the St. Charles Rotary Club will sponsor its annual Alligator Festival September 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th of 2024. And whereas the festival has grown in popularity every year and continues to attract people to St. Charles Parish to enjoy a weekend of delicious food and live entertainment. And whereas the festival helps to publicize the economic and nutritious aspects of the alligator. And whereas proceeds from this festival benefit college scholarship funds awarded to area high school students. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim September 26th through 29th, 2024 as Alligator Weekend in St. Charles Parish and encourage all citizens in the parish to attend the festival at the St. Charles Parish West Bank Bridge Park. Be it further resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, on behalf of the members of the St. Charles Rotary Club, do hereby proclaim Rotary Club President Charlie Chauvin as Mr. Alligator. And we have Mr. Chauvin here to receive this. Thank you.
All right, just want to thank the president and the entire council for this proclamation. I know we're all looking forward to a great, beautiful weekend, great weather, great fun, safe time, and, this has been such a great festival. This is its 43rd year that we're going to be presenting it. Every year, it is able to generate $50,000 in scholarship money. So really excited about it and hope to see everybody there at the festival. Thank you.
All righty, 2024-0309, a proclamation, National Sea Tracks Think Train Week. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas according to the Federal Rail Administration's preliminary statistics, 2,192 rail collisions at public and private crossings resulted in 765 personal injuries and were responsible for 248 fatalities during 2023. And whereas according to the FRA's preliminary statistics, 1,378 pedestrian trespassing casualties have occurred in 2023, resulting in 663 fatalities, as well as 550 injuries on railroad property right-of-ways during 2023. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railroad right-of-ways are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of fatalities and injuries. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, United States Department of Transportation, and all local, state, county, and railroad law enforcement officers, first responders, and railroad corporations commit to partnering together in an effort to educate at the national level all aspects of railroad safety, to enforce applicable laws and support the National Rail Safety Week. Now therefore be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim the week of September 23rd through the 29th, 2024, as Sea Tracks Think Train Week in St. Charles Parish, and encourage all citizens to recognize the importance of rail safety education. Today, to accept this, we have Mr. Antoine Hawkins with CN Railroad.
Thank you.
Well, first and foremost, apologies. I just followed two wonderful queens and Mr. Alligator. However, happy to be here and thank everyone so much. My name is Antoine Hawkins. I am the State and Local Affairs Manager for CN Railway. Louisiana is one of the great states that I cover in my territory. And President Jewell, Council, on behalf of CN Railway, we thank you all so much for partnering with us during this important Sea Tracks Think Train Week. We went over the statistics, but just kind of delving a little further. Every 3 hours along the entire U.S. rail network, there's a fatality or a pedestrian injury impacting on our railroads. And what we want to do is partner with us because at CN, critical goal is zero as possible. Zero serious injury, zero fatalities, and zero harm along our 18,800-mile network. We have a rail depot right here in Destrehan. We're happy to be here in the parish. I'm here to be a resource. I've spoken a lot with Councilman Pellier, so if anything I could do to help, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you so much on behalf of CN Railway.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. All right, 2024-0310, proclamation, National Breast Cancer Awareness Month at St. Charles Parish. Mr. Daniels.
Proclamation. Whereas except for skin cancer, breast cancer is the most common type of cancer among women in the United States and is the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths among American women. And whereas during the annual National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we recognize the progress that has been made towards a cure for this disease, which robs so many women of their health and in too many cases, their lives. And whereas National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, NBCAM, educates women about the importance of early detection for breast cancer, and since their inception, mammography mammography use has doubled and breast cancer death rates have declined. But many women still do not use mammograms at regular intervals. And whereas the National Cancer Institute estimates 310,720 American women will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year, but millions of women are surviving the disease thanks in part to the early detection and improvements in treatment. And whereas regular mammography screenings and monthly self-examinations remain the most effective ways of identifying breast cancer in its earliest and most treatable stages, long before physical symptoms can be seen or felt. And whereas to lower the chances of breast cancer, we must increase awareness of its risk factors and possible causes. And whereas research is one of our best weapons, and much of the funding for researching a cure for breast cancer is directed towards clinical trials dedicated to finding new and more effective ways of preventing, detecting, and treating breast cancer. Now therefore, be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim October 2024 as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved, all women and their families in St. Charles Parish are urged to get the facts about breast cancer and mammography. Be it further resolved, on Thursday, October 10th, 2024, St. Charles Parish will have a Paint the Parish Pink Day, and urge all citizens to show their support for all of those who have been affected by cancer by commemorating this day by wearing the color pink. And we have Miss Erica Moran here. Is she here to present? Accept? Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I just want to thank the council and Parish President Matt Jewell again for supporting breast cancer awareness, because as a technologist, I see this all the time. People don't want to come in for their mammograms. It's very easy here in the parish. We have mammography on both sides of the river, the East Bank, and at the hospital. So all you have to do is call us to get your appointment scheduled. You don't need an order anymore. It's self-referrals are totally doable this day and age, and for screening mammogram, so there's no reason not to get one. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Warren. 2024-0311, Proclamation, Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Proclamation, whereas all people have the right to live in a safe, accepting, and peaceful environment, and whereas domestic violence is a serious crime that affects people of all races, ages, and gender and income levels. It consists of psychological, physical, sexual, and emotional abuse to gain and maintain power and control. And whereas we believe all people thrive more fully in an atmosphere free of fear and violence, however, there exists in our society a system of power, control, and domination which suppresses these rights and perpetrates violence without regards to age, gender, race, and religion. And whereas Metro Centers for Community Advocacy and a Safe Space of St. Charles, Domestic Violence Advocacy and Support Program are nonprofit organizations that provide free and confidential services to women, children, teens, and male survivors in the areas of St. Charles, St. John, and St. James parishes. And whereas these organizations help enable families to regain their physical and emotional strength with the goal to provide assistance to anyone seeking help. And this is accomplished through state, federal, and local grant monies, as well as tax-deductible monetary and material donations. And whereas St. Charles Parish commends Metro and a Safe Space of St. Charles for providing free and confidential services to survivors of trauma. For when survivors become stronger, the community is strengthened. To break the cycle of violence and aid survivors of domestic violence, it is the mission of both organizations and is accomplished through advocacy, intervention, empowerment, and transformation. Now therefore be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby, in accordance with the National Domestic Violence Organization guidelines, declare the month of October 2024 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish. Be it further resolved that we, the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby urge everyone to wear purple ribbons and plant a windmill garden in the month of October to show support to all victims of violence and to show support to all law enforcement officers, district attorneys, and judges who dedicate themselves to finding solution to this growing problem. And I believe we have Ms. Darlene Santana and Ms. Shirley Sims and some of their board members to come up.
Thank you.
Well, first off, I would like to thank Parish President Jewell and the council members for consistently helping us raise awareness about the perils of domestic violence by issuing the proclamation. It goes on a wall in our multipurpose room with our staff, and they all are very, very proud that and appreciative of the acknowledgement. I just wanted to give you guys a few stats over the past fiscal year of the services that we provided specifically for St. Charles Parish, because we cover 8 parishes in southeast Louisiana. But just for St. Charles Parish, we provided services to 17 male survivors of domestic violence. We serve men as well. 12 households were provided emergency shelter and/or housing assistance. And our housing assistance consists of being able to pay through a grant a deposit and 6 months of rent to help a family get on their feet after they leave shelter and they come to us for services. 33 were provided with legal advocacy. This past year, we got the funds from a grant with the Bar Foundation to hire a full-time staff attorney. We've always had a part-time contract attorney who could only do temporary restraining orders. So when we had somebody who needed divorce or custody evaluation or custody of their children or property settlement, it was searching for us an attorney who would do pro bono services for us, and it takes a while to do that. Now we have an in-house attorney who can handle that. He's been able to grant divorces and help with custody for many of our clients over the past, well, he's been with us for about 7 months now. And that's a tremendous asset. So he's there in the building with us. Anybody that comes into shelter needs a temporary restraining order, representation in court, we have somebody there, and it's such a blessing to have that. And then we have 37 people who have been coming to us and continue to come to us for counseling. We have an office on Apple Street, as well as an apartment for one of our clients. And I not only work in St. Charles Parish, I'm a proud resident of St. Charles Parish, so I would appreciate the comments, and I really do appreciate all of the support we get as an employer, as well as myself as a resident of Norco. Not one time have I called and asked for something, and right on the money, somebody was out there to help us, be it with a hurricane or a leaking something, water in front of the house, and the water company came out and helped. So thank you all for everything you do, not only for us as an employer, but myself as a resident. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Shirley Sims, the Executive Director of a Safe Space of St. Charles. I thank the parish president and the councils for honoring us again this year. Domestic violence is really an important part of my living and being. because I'm here to help victims of domestic violence in any way possible that I can. I thank an organization like Metro also that we partner with them for the services that we can't provide. We can always send them to Metro. This year, from January up until today, we have housed 12 clients within our safe house. And we have housed them anywhere from 3 to 45 days. And the most important thing that we find that hinders our clients is affordable housing. And that we don't have here in St. Charles Parish. And that's really a hard thing for clients that are trying to get back on their feet and make a life for themselves. But I know through the grace of God, something's going to happen to be able to render that. I have faith in that. I hand out everyone a flyer. We're having a domestic violence brunch this year instead of a gala. It's from 10 to 2. And we're going to have Leah McNeil. She's an Emmy Award, I have to get her title right, Emmy Award reporter for WWL-TV. She's coming out to talk about domestic violence, and we're going to have some of our clients that have gone through the program to come back and render how well they have adjusted to going through the program. So again, we thank you for honoring us this year, and Mr. Jules, we're going to plant the garden again in the front of the courthouse and in front the bank and another area also. Please wear purple, okay, to represent domestic violence. And again, I thank you for your attendance. God bless you.
All right, 2024-0312, proclamation, United Way Month in St. Charles Parish, Battle for the Paddle Cook-Off. Mr. Bruyere.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation, whereas United Way of St. Charles was established in November 1955 to unite the entire community in a system of volunteers, donors, and agencies for the purpose of improving the quality and quantity of human care services for the citizens of St. Charles Parish. And whereas the United Way of St. Charles serves as a critical link which unites all community participants to build a stronger, healthier, more compassionate St. Charles Parish. And whereas business, industry, government, and hundreds of volunteers come together each year in St. Charles Parish to participate in raising the needed financial resources through the annual United Way campaign. And whereas thousands in St. Charles Parish contribute financial resources that are used to improve the lives of tens of thousands of people by providing funding for basic and emergency needs, health and rehabilitation, financial stability, counseling, education, recreation, and youth and senior services. And whereas the St. Charles Parish Council and Parish President wish to join the great people of St. Charles Parish who care about continuing to improve the quality of life for all in our community by supporting the 2024 annual campaign of the United Way of St. Charles. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Thursday, October 3rd, 2024, as a day of fun and festivities for all in St. Charles Parish, and proclaim the month of October 2024 as United Way of St. Charles Month. We urge all citizens in St. Charles Parish to attend the United Way of St. Charles annual Battle for the Paddle, a gumbo and jambalaya cook-off to be held October 3rd, 2024, from 3 p.m. till 7:30 p.m. at the Edward Dufresne Community Center, 274 Judge Edward Dufresne Parkway in Luling. Be it further resolved, the United Way flag shall fly on the grounds of the parish courthouse for this period as a constant reminder to the great citizens of our parish of this important cause. You have the power to change the world around you. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. And John Diaz is here to accept this proclamation.
Well, on behalf of the board and all those volunteers and staff of United Way, I owe this council thanks, not only for your support throughout the year, of course, but obviously for these special events. So thank you for that. I always thought that United Way had a great relationship with parish government. We always have, and that's really deepened under the leadership of President Jewell, so thank you. And essentially, you know, the Battle for the Paddle started as a feel-good promotion for our campaign, and really it's evolved into the biggest block party, neighborhood party in St. Charles Parish. So please come join us on October 3rd, and thank you all very much.
Thank you, John. 2024-0313, proclamation, National 4-H Week. Proclamation, whereas the St. Charles Parish Council is proud to honor the 4-H Youth Development Program of the LSU Agriculture Cooperative Extension Service for 116 years of providing experience-based education to the youth throughout the state. And whereas through advisory councils, the 4-H Youth Development Program addresses genuine youth development needs to develop a sense of belonging, independence, mastery, and generosity among St. Charles Parish students by providing experimental learning opportunities, especially in the areas of civic engagement, healthy living, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And whereas it's more than 113,000 urban, suburban, and rural youth participants ranging in age from 8 to 19, hail from a diverse ethnic and socioeconomic backgrounds and truly represent a cross-section of the state. And whereas the program undoubtedly could not have achieved the success that it has not had today if it were not for the services of more of its 13,000 volunteers who have given generously of their time, talents, energies, resources to the youth of Louisiana. And whereas through its proud history, the 4-H program has developed positive role models for countless citizens, and through its innovative and inspiring programs, continue to build character and install the beliefs and values that have made our state strong and great. Now therefore be it resolved, we the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President do hereby proclaim the week of October 6th through 12th, 2024 as National 4-H Week in St. Charles Parish, and commend the 4-H Youth Development Program of the LSU Ag Center Cooperative Extension Service and the many men and women who have made the program a success. I believe we have Callie Zummett and a few of her 4-H's to accept this.
Okay, good evening, Parish President, council members, council chairman. I'm Dr. Callie Zammett. I'm the 4-H Extension Agent for St. Charles Parish. The 4-H Youth Development Program is a youth development program of the LSU Ag Center. And in the week of October, we're actually going to be doing membership drives. Right now, in all of our schools, we're accepting members for our 4-H Youth Development Program, which focuses youth development, education, and civic engagement, STEM, and healthy living. At the end of National 4-H Week, we will have a meet and greet opportunity for 4-H members and families to come and learn a little bit more about 4-H and our community clubs. So we have school clubs, but also community clubs, which are our Chef Club, Clover Buds, Fashion, Shooting Sports, and we also have our Junior Leader Club. Our Junior Leader Club is a 7th to 12th grade program for any 7th to 12th graders in St. Charles Parish, where we do leadership development. And these wonderful leaders right here are actually in our Junior Leader Club. They're actually our officers. So we have Our president is Ethan Bellinger from Hornville High. Our vice president, Mackenzie Bellinger from J.B. Martin. Our secretary treasurer, Claire Ultridge from J.B. Martin. And our reporter, Isabella LeBlanc from Hornville High. And a lot of people always ask us, what are the 4 H's? So we're actually going to demonstrate our 4-H pledge for you, which actually has our 4 H's. All right, you ready? Okay, I pledge my head to clearer thinking, my heart to greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living for my club, my community, my country, and my world. I just ask that any parents or families, if you're interested in learning about being more involved in our 4-H as a member or volunteer, you can reach out at schools. We do have programs within the schools, and also our LSU Ag Center office. Thank you for your continued support.
Thank you, Council. All right, 2024-0314, a proclamation, Fire Prevention Week. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas St. Charles Parish is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all of those living in and visiting our parish. And whereas fire is a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and homes are the locations where people are at greatest risk from fire. And whereas in 2024 Fire Prevention Week, the 2024 Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work for You, effectively strives to educate everyone about the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home, and whereas smoke alarms reduce the risk of dying in a home fire by more than 54%. Meanwhile, roughly 3 out of 5 deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or no working smoke alarms. And whereas smoke alarms serve as the first line of defense in your home, but they need to be working in order to protect people, and with this year's campaign helps better educate the public about simple and critical steps they can take to make sure their homes have smoke alarms in all the needed locations and that they are working properly. And whereas this year's Fire Prevention Week theme, Smoke Alarms, Make Them Work for You, can make a life-saving difference in a home fire, giving people the time to get out safely, and is a great way to remind everyone about these messages and to act on them. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim October 6th through 12th, 2024, as Fire Prevention Week in St. Charles Parish, and urge all citizens to install, test once a month, and replace all smoke alarms within 10 years during the Fire Prevention Week 2024, and to support the many public safety activities and efforts of St. Charles Parish Fire and Emergency Services. Here to accept is Luling Fire Chief Barry Minnick.
Thank you, Mr. Parish President, Council. On behalf of the fire service in the parish, we all know that smoke and fire alarms save lives. In Luling, just a few months ago, that was definitely the case. A father and his daughter was in the home caught on fire, and only by the grace of that smoke detector did they get out. Okay, and it started from a phone charger in the bedroom. And he woke up to the flames literally 3 feet from him and was able to get out. If they wouldn't have had those smoke alarms, it would have been a different story, absolutely. Along with the smoke alarms, carbon monoxide alarms. During the hurricane season, we really hit on that, but now that fall and winter's coming, the heaters are coming on. Any residence that has natural gas supplied appliances should always have a carbon monoxide alarm in every room, along with those smoke detectors. So thank you very much. We'll keep trying to do our business, and thank you for doing yours. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief. All righty, reports, finance administrative activities, 2024-0315. Parish President, remarks and report. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. I will first just start with Hurricane Francine recap. Hurricane Francine made landfall on September 11th as a Category 2 hurricane. This was our 14th declared emergency within the last 5 years, the first one of this year. You can see on the screen there, and Jason will talk a little bit more after my report's over, but we started having conversations when that line was over Lake Charles, and you can see exactly where we ended up. Those lines closest to the yellow line were what was being essentially reported the day of the storm, and you can see what happened. And Jason will talk a little bit more about what those wobbles meant to us and how the storm slowed down and stalled on top of us. So obviously the projected track was not what actually happened. Estimates say that we received between 9 and 12 inches of rain from Hurricane Francine. Jason spoke to some folks at NOAA. They were saying that this was anywhere between a 200 and 500 year rain event, according to the NOAA Atlas folks. Again, that's not according to us, that's according to folks over at NOAA. Given that the residents told us that water receded quickly after the storm, that was good news. It meant that our drainage systems were working, but were outpaced by the amount of rainfall. If you look at Francine's toll on the parish, torrential rain from the storm caused water to rise quickly in several portions of the parish, in fact, most portions of the parish. Residents were asked to report flooding to the EOC via phone or email, and from those reports, we were told that there were about 255 homes on the East Bank that were reported flooded, and then 126 homes on the West Bank. Of course, we always chase down those reports and go out and confirm them. So the first thing, the morning after Hurricane Francine made landfall, our Department of Planning and Zoning went out and did their damage assessments. From P&Z's outreach, they were able to take those reports of flooding and compare it with actual damage. There's a designation that they use within planning and zoning, minor flooding, major flooding, and affected. As always, we know that any flooding is major, and we have to utilize those categories for our own purposes. But we had 181 residents who received flooding within the living area of their home. That was, I believe, 174 minor flooding, 7 major flooding. Secondary structures, so these are people who got water in a shed or a garage, some non-living structure of their property, 107. And then there were 11 properties that were inaccessible, not accessible by our planning and zoning folks. And while it's no consolation to those who flooded, the good news is that in most of those areas that saw the higher concentrations of water, and again, Jason will hit on that specifically, especially the East Bank. We do have drainage projects in various stages of completion or are underway right now that is going to help mitigate some of this flooding in the future. We have several infrastructure improvements planned across the parish, but the only way to truly safeguard your home is to elevate. So I just can't stress enough that if you do qualify and our grants office reaches out to you to take advantage of that FEMA elevation program. I hate to tell you to elevate. I want to be confident that we're going to resolve all of these problems, and I am confident that we are going to resolve a significant number of them because all things being equal, compared to 2020, we should have seen a lot more homes flood than that did. And again, I take a little bit of solace in the fact that people told us the water drained so quickly. And again, it just goes back to the fact that that so many so much rain just overwhelmed the drainage system. So out of 20,000 structures, we had about 1.5% of them that flooded. Now, that's not to minimize the flooding, but I think it shows you that the vast majority of the parish went through a really large rainfall event and didn't flood. After speaking with council members, we were told that some homes weren't reported, and some homes that were reported were potentially wind-driven rain and not actual flooding from drainage issues. So we know that the number that we have is not perfect, but it is a number that we use to isolate hot spots and utilize it to update things like our drainage modeling and use it for future grant funding for the parish. Again, I just want to, there were several people who did not flood in this storm who would have flooded had they not elevated. And so I just want to, again, if the grants office reaches out to you, there's a potentially really good opportunity for you as a resident to take advantage of the elevation program. I'll tell you, it's not quick, but the result is that you will be 2 feet above FEMA's base flood elevation. And that is, again, your best defense against flooding. Now I'd like to take our council members and talk to our council members and residents about what parish government did to prepare for Hurricane Francine and what we are doing as a result and trying to get back to normal. So Hurricane Francine preparations, sandbag locations were made available at both the East and West Bank Bridge Parks, as well as recreation employees delivered sandbags to the elderly and the homebound who called and requested. Wastewater placed generators at critical lift stations. Public Works crews checked ditches, culverts, pump stations, and all drainage infrastructure before the storm. We did some flood fighting up the bayou, or I should really just some preemptive flood fighting up the bayou. Public Works crews bolstered a lot of low spots up the bayou road along Bayou des Allemands, and as a part of their storm preparations, because the way the storm set up and how the intensity and the speed that it was moving, especially at the time, we knew that in the modeling that we were receiving from AdCirc and CPRA, showed us that the storm surge was not going to be a major issue for us. So we forewent the HESCO baskets along Bayou des Allemands and again used sandbagging to prepare for at least a 4-foot storm surge along Bayou des Allemands. And to put that in perspective, Hurricane Ida gave us about a 4.5-foot storm surge. The AdCirc modeling for this storm was showing a 2-foot to 3-foot storm surge. Hurricane Ida AdCirc modeling was showing us a 9-foot storm surge in that same area, and we got 4.5. Obviously, we know that modeling is what it is. It's modeling. The one thing that I do like about AdCirc modeling is that CPRA has tidal monitoring stations around the Barataria Basin and across the state, and they actually update that modeling with the true results of what they actually see. So the model gets better storm after storm. I did mention to them that we do not have a very good tide monitoring station in Bayou des Allemands. We do monitor the tide there, but what we look at is off, and we just kind of use it to gauge when the water's coming up, when it's coming down. And so I've requested that the CPRA add a true tide monitoring station in Bayou des Allemands as well as Bayou Gauche to just give us some better data when it comes to storm surges. So inside the EOC, our Emergency Operations Center was activated in response to the Francine, and we had staff members from parish government, the Sheriff's Office, Fire, EMS, the school system, Entergy, the United Way, GOSEF, and more. The Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security staff worked with all of our staff officers who called in and responded to the storm, and we had a great team working throughout. The Shelter of Last Resort was opened at the Dufresne Community Center, and we actually sheltered 30 residents and a dog during the storm. I want to just say thanks to Parks and Recreation as well as the animal shelter who set that up, and we give that opportunity for our residents. Public Works cleanup around the parish. So the morning after Francine, Public Works teams hit the ground and started to clear debris from catch basins and canals. I'd also like to recognize the Public Works teams who in the EOC worked to compile lists and that we used to dispatch areas that needed it most before, during, and after the storm. The communications, I thought, was really well done, even in comparison to Hurricane Ida. We did not really have to anticipate the needs of the residents. We already knew what residents were going to call about or wanted to know about because of the experience we gained through Hurricane Ida. So we did press releases, we did text messaging, we did local media outlets, radio, social media, the public access channel, the parish website. We even maintained lists of grocery stores, pharmacies, and gas stations that were open prior to the storm and after the storm, which I know helped residents get information and be able to get critical items. Our IT department also helped set up a phone hotline for residents to call about general information to take load off of the EOC line. So we opened, essentially during the storm, we roll everything to the EOC, which is 50/50. And then after the storm, we keep 50/50 in place for emergencies, but we also open 5,000 back up, 95-783, 5,000. We open that back up for generalized question, non-emergencies, and that takes a load off of our EOC folks. Resources that are now available for residents. There are a few post-storm resources that the federal government and the state have opened for St. Charles Parish residents affected by Hurricane Francine. First, FEMA applications for individual assistance are open online and over the phone for residents to apply for assistance. FEMA representatives, that's your DSA walking teams. They are going to walk every street in the parish and knock on every door to make sure residents know about these benefits, to make sure that if residents can qualify, that they do. The website for applications for residents who want to apply online, that's www.disasterassistance.gov. And the phone number is 1-800-621-3362. That information is up on the screen here. The state of Louisiana has also just approved DSNAP benefits. That's the Disaster Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Benefits for St. Charles Parish. Applications are going to open up on Wednesday, and they're going to be broken up by your last name. We did send this information out in a press release today, and I know we are updating Facebook. If we haven't, Francesca, have we updated Facebook with this yet? Okay, so Facebook is updated as well as the website, and I believe something's going on the channel about this as well. So Wednesday, September 25th, last names A through G. Thursday, September 26th, last names H through M. Friday, September 27th, last names N through Z. Monday, September 30th, open to all. Tuesday, October 1st, open to all. Vulnerable groups, including the elderly or the disabled who are unable to apply by phone, can also go in person to the Allen Arterberry Building located at 14564 River Road in New Sarpy this Wednesday through Friday, and then next Monday and Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Information on both FEMA, IA, and DSNAP benefits is available, again, on the parish website, cable access channel. Want to talk really quickly about debris removal. DRC is helping us with the C&D debris that came out of flooded homes. We do have River Birch and the parish both running trash trucks to help get up the tree debris. And going through the parish, there really isn't much out there. There might be a little bit slightly more than normal in some areas, but they've gotten a lot of it picked up thus far. We wanted to get DRC up and running, which they have been starting today. And they think they will finish up this morning. We're going to make sure that they do a drive through the parish as well to get any loose ends up. But knowing that we could have potentially had a storm this week, we wanted to get the debris up as fast as possible. Residents who are still looking to get the debris out of their home, we do ask that they follow the debris guidelines and do the separation that that is required. And that information is up on the screen. Jason, if I'm not mistaken, you guys went to every flooded home and gave them a flyer to make sure that they had this information about debris removal, and we did that last Friday. All right, I'm gonna switch gears real quick and just give some updates on some projects. Destrehan 2 pump station update. Since Francine made landfall, sea level construction has made more progress at the pump station. All remaining sheet piles that were blocking any of the bays have been pulled. So the 12 new bar screen cleaners have been installed and turned over to us for use. Sea Level has also completed the excavation of the canal today, so this project only has a couple of punch list items left until it is considered substantially complete. I will tell you that those new bar screen cleaner bays were not open during Hurricane Ida, just the existing bays. And even in the height of the storm, with the fuzzy pictures that we could see from the EOC, I could see the top of, what's that? I'm sorry, what did I say? Okay, you know Ida's still stuck in my head. From Francine, I'm sorry. So during the storm, from Francine, we could see during the height of the storm, the top of the sheet pile, the vinyl sheet pile, which if you've ever been to that station during a really bad rain event, that canal is out of its banks. It's literally up to the people's fences in their backyards. We also were able to watch the 72-inch pumps running. They were not cycling, and so I can tell you that the windows that were cut behind those 72-inch pumps is allowing them to quote-unquote breathe, as Walter has expressed to me. So I think that the pump station is already running much better, and the addition of these bays and the extra sump and the extra volume that the pump station can take is going to tremendously help. And again, folks in Ormond told me that the water did come down very quickly on that side. In fact, it took a little bit longer for water to get through the golf course weir than it did on that side. So that's at least a step in the right direction on that. And I know we have some other projects in the pipeline that are going to help mitigate flooding there. East Bank water intake construction, this is finally underway. That is a picture of the East Bank water intake and what it has looked like since Hurricane Ida made landfall. That intake was destroyed by a barge, so we have a contractor out there now. You all have approved the over $3 million project to replace that and bolster it to protect it from future damages from potential storms or potential barge strikes. So stay tuned. We're going to get that completed and hopefully make the infrastructure around the parish a little bit stronger. Lastly, certainly not least, the Willardale turn lane ribbon cutting. We were able to go out and officially accept the turn lane and cut the ribbon last week. The safety and efficiency and the enhancements of this was going to originally cost the taxpayer $1.5 million because the original design included an extension of a box culvert and some other items that I think they believed were necessary to make the configuration work. I just want to say thanks to Miles Bingham, Mike Palamone, and the rest of the crew at the Public Works Department. They actually got on the ground. We did some work in-house to do some sheet piling around those box culverts and bolster the head walls of the canal. And they did a design in-house. They gave that design over to an engineer who redrew it and stamped it for us and made it work, and so we could get it into a place that was biddable. And while the project took a little bit longer than anticipated, the price that the parish paid was actually 1/3 of the original cost, and that's always a win when we can do projects that save the parish money and that work out well. I've gotten a lot of compliments from the residents about how much nicer it is to be able to just get to the turning lane and get through there. As Ms. Fonska stated at the groundbreaking, it was always kind of just an understood turn lane in that you don't get mad when someone's inching between you and the guardrail and through the pothole that was on the side of the road. So we're just excited to see that this one's done, and want to just say thanks to the DOTD as well for working with us to get that to get the nose of that median cut back. And that's all I have for my report. Oh, sorry, Jason. Yeah, go ahead, Jason.
Okay, President Jewell kind of went through the whole storm, and I'm going to ask you to kind of rewind your memory, and let's start over again from the beginning. So, starting with Ida, September 8th, really on Sunday, was when I started. I'm sorry, Francine.
I tell you.
So woke up, really for me, I woke up Sunday morning, took a look at the hurricane models, which is typically my morning tradition during hurricane season. We were aware that something was out there. I was watching certainly the area of disturbed weather down in the southwest Gulf of Mexico. but really didn't like what I saw in the models when I woke up on Sunday morning. So again, I don't feel like I'd be doing my job if I didn't give a little bit of a preparedness talk while I'm up here. And I said it at every hurricane presentation over the last 3 years. You have to really be careful about what models you're looking at. You can't look at single line tracks of any model, and you can't listen to any meteorologist who's giving you absolutes, especially 3 days out, 4 days out, 5 days out. Really looking at the ensemble models, they showed different solutions for this storm that were going all the way out to Lafayette, which started concerning me, while most everybody else was saying, hey, this is a storm that's going to the state line between Texas and Louisiana. I really wasn't buying it. I called President Jewell Sunday morning. We talked about the storm, said, hey, what are we going to do about it today? From then, we started messaging. We went to all of our parish directors, all of our ESFs on Sunday and said, look, you're going to have to use today to get ready, because if the threat does start coming towards us, we're really not going to have a lot of time for you to have any personal time to board up your house or whatever preparations you think you need to meet. So that was our message to all of our responders for the parishes, to use that day to get ready. From there, gave everybody the time on Sunday. Monday, we came in. We met early Monday morning with the executive staff, and then moved on to where we immediately started our operational rhythm. And this is the forecast that we were faced with on Monday morning. So Monday morning, we came in. The Hurricane Center had declared a tropical storm. It was a potential tropical cyclone later on Sunday. Monday morning, tropical storm, and we were getting official forecasts. Still with this forecast, not a terrible forecast for us, something that far to the west, but knowing it wasn't a really strong developed storm, slow moving, just kind of meandering out there. They really couldn't find or pinpoint the low pressure center of that. I knew that there was going to be some inaccuracy in the forecast that we were given, and we really needed to move forward. We took it seriously. We started our actions then on Monday morning, really wide open. We stopping all normal work throughout the parish, all the parish employees, and then all of our first response agencies. Again, they're focused on a storm from here until either the threat's gone or we're through the event. So really, that was our message on Monday morning. Some of the things that kind of go along with that, we made the sandbag decision to start placing those at the East and West Bank Bridge Park. We started pushing out our situational reports, which you all get from us, just to have knowledge or situational awareness of everything that's going on throughout the parish. So we started that on Monday. Really not a lot of change to the forecast as we went into Tuesday. The storm maybe shifted just a slightly bit more east, but not a whole lot of change to it. But still the threat there. We're having a hurricane that's really kind of on the west side or east side of Vermilion Bay. Really Morgan City, Franklin area was where landfall was predicted. And then looking at what we were going to get. We knew it wasn't a storm surge threat for us. So we were able to not have to do that big HESCO operation in Des Allemands. We had sandbags there even from the week before with the rain event and the high tide event we had on the Friday of the week before. We just made the decision that we'd open a shelter on Wednesday because we were expecting sustained tropical storm force winds for about 14 to 15 hours on Wednesday. So that decision was made on Tuesday. We pushed that out through our public information on that day. And then throughout this whole time, we're continuing our operational rhythm. We're meeting with everybody that's from nursing home, industrial groups, all of our first response groups are meeting multiple times a day, getting updates on, what challenges you may have, what preparations you've completed and where you are, and, what are you thinking as you're going through into the storm on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we fully activated the EOC Wednesday morning, starting with our briefing. We opened the shelter of last resort at 7 a.m. All of the floodgates and boat launches were closed on Wednesday morning. And then we were looking again. Still no real change in the forecast. Expected to be a Category 1 at landfall, potentially a minimal Category 2. Expected to move fast. And then we knew that there was a rain threat there as well. On Wednesday afternoon, really, that's when we kind of got into our actions. For us, you're really looking at what the storm's doing. As it's making landfall, we're watching landfall. We're in close communication with National Weather Service. We had our final conference call with them at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. We were also talking really closely, I was, to the directors down in Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish to see what they were seeing. We maintained communication throughout the storm. And talking to the Terrebonne Parish director, he said, it actually wasn't that bad from what they were expecting up in Houma at the EOC. But we really got into a different situation, which I'll show on this slide. And I want you to look at the radar. And we were seeing a lot of good things, a lot of positives as the storm was coming on land. And one of that is that the eye wall was expanding. And that was taking place because the shear was there. And during our 2 o'clock conference call with the National Weather Service, we always talk about shear being a good thing as the storm won't be able to maintain its strength. But they did give us a warning. They going along with the shear. And they said, yes, while it may dry out the storm, your wind speeds are going to probably stay elevated or may even increase. There was no additional warnings about rainfall that came along with that. So as we go on into the evening hours and we get to about 7 p.m., this is the radar shot. The top image there is the radar shot in the EOC of what we were looking at, and the rain just wouldn't move. And I know many of y'all were in communication with us because at one point we were questioning whether the information on the radar was even correct that we were getting. So we assured that the radar was correct. We actually had a local meteorologist out of New Orleans, Zach Fidela, who posted on Facebook and said the situation in St. Charles Parish is going from bad to absolutely dangerous, and you need to take whatever protective actions you can at this point. Really what's taking place, I got to talk to Zach for about an hour the other day, and what he was telling me is that while the eye wall was expanding, it was creating a conflict with the shear, and that the shear was trying to push the rain away, while the rain's trying to build back towards the center of the storm. And we were unfortunately caught in that battle between the two where it just put that straight line right over us. And it really went from Thibodaux through St. James, St. John, St. Charles, and then over into Jefferson, who really saw the worst of the effects as it goes across. And you can see that with the radar depiction there. So really just caught in an unfortunate circumstance where we received way more rain than some of the parishes to our south. Directly in who had the same part of the track that we did. Rainfall rates, as President Jewell spoke of earlier, our radars and most of our gauges were about 9 to 10 inches throughout the parish. Significant, we had residents in Norco, St. Rose tell us that they had 10 inches on their gauges. In the yards, it's really hard for radars to give you an accurate forecast or an accurate measurement of the rain when it's blowing sideways or it's that heavy of rain. So that's what we're estimating. And President Jewell also reiterated with NOAA when we sent them our rainfall totals and asked about the rain event that they said it was a 200 to 500 year rain event. We went through that. We were up throughout the night, parish crews working on Wednesday. Continued that into Thursday where we started recovery. Before I get into the recovery, just want to show you the final track of Francine. Again, my teaching phase here is you can't ever focus on that one center line. We know that it's not going to track along that line, that different things are going to happen. We saw even as it got past us into the lake, it made a significant shift to the east before it continued on. Of course, none of those things are really depicted in the forecast, and we just have to be prepared as a whole for every one of these storms of what could happen. So just one of those anomalies that go on, and you can't focus on that. You really have to look at the cone. Immediately Thursday morning, our Planning and Zoning Department started their damage assessments. We rolled that up to the state in order to attempt to get a declaration on Friday evening, Friday afternoon with the other parishes. FEMA did not automatically grant that declaration for us. On Monday, we started with them. FEMA sent a team down. We started doing damage assessments by riding around. The employees of my employees at EOC took those teams out around the parish. At the end of the day, on Monday, we really did not think we'd get federally declared based on the damages and what we were hearing from the people who were there doing the inspections. Monday night, we got good news that we were declared. That Monday night, because we were going to continue the assessments on Tuesday, which they canceled, and they gave us the declarations as well. And if you look to our east, Jefferson finally got declared today, and then Kenner as well. So they'll be getting some benefits over to our east as well, but we were more fortunate where we didn't have to wait for those. Matt, we really went through the damage assessment good, just to show you the map and the plot of where most of our damages were. Of course, the East Bank really saw the brunt of the rainfall, and of course, the brunt of the flooded homes were there. Norco, St. Rose, Destrehan area, but we also had a scattering of houses on the West Bank as well that had water in homes. Our damage assessments are complete for us. Our work now is really focused on getting people those benefits. As you heard in Matt's report, we have DSNAPs that's going in place. It's going to be starting Wednesday. The DRC is going to be opened up for folks later this week. And then SBA benefits will kick in as well. So that's really where we focus on now, is just getting assistance to people who qualify for it and make sure they're directed in the right locations. Something I'm going to say about the center at the DRC, there's no reason for people to go there. Anything they could do is on their phone, online, or through the telephone. So unless you have a conflict or feel that you've been wrongfully denied, you don't have to go to the DRC. So that's what that center's for. If you have a conflict resolution, you need to turn in additional paperwork or documentation, then you'll go to the DRC. There's really no reason to go there. Other than that, the SBA is also going to be located at the Arterberry building and in the DSNAP for those limited days that they'll be there. And the DSNAP at the Arterberry building is only for elderly and disabled folks. Everybody else could go online and do it on your phone, and then permanent offices in St. John Parish that people can go and visit there also. That's all I had. I'll be happy to take any questions about the parish actions that we took for Hurricane Francine.
All right. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, President Jewell. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the parish president and Jason, you and the staff at EOC, as well as all of the other employees and other agency personnel who staffed the preparation for this hurricane event and the response as well as the recovery. I think, it's not this administration's first rodeo, as we all know, but it was definitely a good job and effort by all. Communications with council members was very good this time. I know for Hurricane Ida, we did have some issues with communication towers and, the typical traditional methods we would communicate were not available. So, but communications with council members, I thought was really good this time. Looking at the maps that we just got today, and I looked at them in comparison to the maps from the May 2020 flooding and, thinking back to Hurricane Ida. And I would like to reiterate what the parish president said. While we don't want to see any residents flood ever, and I think based on the maps, it showed us that we've made significant progress with drainage projects, and there are still more projects on the horizon, but those take time. So I, as well as he, I'd like to reiterate elevations. If you receive information or notification that you're eligible for elevations, please, by all means, if you have the means, go ahead and elevate your home, because that just may make the difference when the next event comes around, and it will, that's where we live, on whether your home floods or not. And it may be that we are unable, due to limited funding or waiting on grant funding or other reasons, to implement that project in your area that we have planned to address any drainage issues. And I know the maps also show the areas that still need some work. Some of those areas do have projects in the pipeline we're currently working on, so I'm encouraged by that. So I feel like, we need to continue progress on the projects that are in the pipeline. I know y'all are working hard on that. But overall, I just really appreciate everyone's efforts. I know it takes a lot of staff to do what you all did. I've been there before, so thank you very much for a job well done.
Thank you, Ms. Fonseca. Mr. Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to echo what Ms. Fonseca and Mr. Fisher had said earlier about the reaction of the parish different departments, EOC. I was not very able to communicate during the storm. First, it went from being able to text out, call out, to not being able to text out or call out, but I was able to receive text. I have no idea why. But thank goodness for a landline, and the communication was excellent. Mr. Jewell and other people communicated, a team of 15 different people, all council people, Mr. Jewell and some others, and I thought that was excellent. While I was waiting to get my house elevated, I have to mention that, and it hadn't been done the day before, and it should have been, and so I was sweating it. So all I can tell people is that if you're able to get an elevation, do it. I've done it now. I will not have to look back on these storms. One thing I will say about elevations is it takes a long time. There are a lot of things that are being told to people that I think may be somewhat inaccurate, and so we need to dispel those items so that people aren't afraid to place the application. And once they have, I've talked to somebody the other day, they flooded again. An application had been in, and she said, well, we're not going to be able to afford it. They knew nothing about the increased cost of compliance, which is a shame. So I want to help these people every chance I get. I know 5 people who are waiting to have their homes elevated who flooded. Not a good feeling. So all I can say, and I'll echo what you had said, if you can do it, do it. I've just done it. It goes a lot quicker when they do this. They elevate the house within a period of about 4 to 5 hours. Everything that leads up to it takes a long time. But I just thought I'd share those thoughts, and I thank this parish very much for the support that we've gotten, and I'm sure this is, it made life a lot easier, particularly after the storm, having the sit reps, having people communicate continually, and I thank everybody for their effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearley. Mr. Jewell.
I just want to thank the council. I did take a different approach from Hurricane Ida for those council members who were here during Hurricane Ida than I did with communications to the council, and tried to kind of streamline everything rather than have 9 separate conversations, because my phone, I'm surprised, doesn't catch on fire during a hurricane. It just beeps so much, and if I don't keep it plugged in, it's going to die within like 5 minutes. I will tell you, if there was anything you felt was missing from those communications, I did try to have a couple of people in the executive staff in that, just in case I missed something, that they could reply to that as well. But if you think anything was missing in that, please let me know. We always want to do better when it comes to that during times of emergencies. I just want to reiterate, Jason, I just don't think we couldn't respond as well to these storms if we didn't have a 24-hour EOC. I truly believe that, because our guys are always watching. If they get a call in the middle of the night from the National Weather Service, we know about it, and we've probably already called our folks who are on call, who are on our on-call list, out to pump stations or to do whatever we got to do. So, as much as I hate seeing Jason call my phone every time it rings in his name, I'm like, oh gosh, here we go again. One of the best bangs for our buck in this parish is that 24-hour EOC. And I think when you look and you talk to other parishes, they're in the process of trying to emulate what we are doing. So we are leading the way when it comes to that. Let me just say this. All of our St. Charles Parish employees did a tremendous job. We had a couple of issues here and there with 400 employees, you're going to. But all of our parish employees did a tremendous job. Everybody knew what their job was, and everybody stepped up and got it done. And so I just want to say how tremendously thankful I am for them. And then Mr. Pillier, on the elevations issue, let's get together and figure out, what we can do to help make sure that residents have all the information that they can get. I know Holly knows this, and I've gone through this a couple of times. One of the biggest, frustrations with the elevation program is that we get people to the finish line and then they back out. I can't tell you how many times that's happened. We've had them where we've had double digit, 20 people supposed to be elevated and only 4 take us up on it. And so I believe that just, with all the tools in our tool belt, and the projects that we have coming for months, and Norco, and the grant funding we just got for St. Rose, and the LWI funding that we got for the culverts and other projects throughout the parish, I think are going to help mitigate a lot of this flooding. I really am confident of that, but we need to utilize every tool in our toolkit. I like doing the math on these things, and I try to do it pretty conservatively. When you look at our 110 square mile internal drainage system that we have in the parish, the total parish is 411 square miles. okay? But most of it is lake or marsh or non-inhabited areas. If you look at the total amount of rain that fell within that internal drainage system, conservatively, it was over 16 billion gallons of water. That's over 10 or 12 superdomes of water. It's about 24,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. You know, I talked to a lot of folks in Norco, and I looked at Norco. Norco has a 1.31 square mile drainage watershed. And they got the brunt of the storm. And just conservatively, if we say they got 9 inches of rain, that's 250 million gallons of water just in Norco alone. I went out to the various pump stations after the storm till about 2 in the morning with a few of my folks in the EOC. So we saw firsthand what it looked like. I did the calculations on how long it should take to pump out the water that we have, that we had in Norco at that time. It said about 7 hours, and it turned out that was about right. It's what ended up happening. But I'm confident to know that the 100+ CFS of pumping capacity and the sump that we're going to add at the pump station on Engineers Canal is going to help mitigate a lot of that. But you know, when your canal is out of its bank or your sump is at a plus 3.7, which is what it was after it stopped raining at the storm, and you got a home within the watershed that is below that, it's going to be really hard to prevent that flooding. That's why I just repeat, you know, we got to use all the tools in our toolkit. I know we had a lot of good projects coming up. Same thing in Hawnville. When I looked at some of the folks who flooded once again in Hawnville, like Low and Bamboo and Plantation, when the rain stopped, the residents told us it shot out of there. And that's, you know, that's good to know considering the fact that we had a high tide, we had a tremendous amount of rain, and that pump station was running that whole time. So there's work to be done, and a lot of these problems have been here for a long time. We're just going to keep chugging away at them, get as many done as we can, and hopefully leave as many projects either ready to go or close to ready to go as we can so that we can continue building on that progress. Thanks.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to ditto to what everyone else has stated. But I do have a question in reference to the elevation of the homes. King Street, of course, is one of the streets that normally get water in their homes. And one of the residents did call the grants office, and I guess I just need to get some clarification, and we probably all need to get some clarification. She was told that it's like a lottery base, based on damaged flooding.
No, it's based.
Okay.
Yeah, it's and you know that kind of what we may be able to do is have Carla come to either a council meeting or maybe even better a committee hearing to just give an update on that, and that's something that we can video and share online. But it's based off of homes that have flooded multiple times and have made a claim for flood insurance, and FEMA designates homes as repetitive loss, severe repetitive loss, and it's all based off of how many times you flood within a given period, and that qualifies you for the program. And then, of course, there's a whole litany of things you have to go through getting to the finish line, but it is not based off of a lottery. Nobody is at the parish picking winners and losers in this, and it's solely based off of flood data that comes to FEMA through their claims. And look, Carla can get into a lot more detail than that about it, and I know even Councilwoman Fonseca could as well, but it is certainly not lottery-based.
All right, Mr. Bouye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is there a priority list or anything that's reviewed after this event to determine any changes or, in what current plans we have in certain areas and so forth?
Well, for one, we'll do an after-action review of this event. And so everybody has been asked to write down things that went right, things that went wrong. And we did that after Ida. And I can tell you a lot of things that we changed for this storm were a direct result of Ida. And we're going to do that again. Obviously, when we look at that level of storm, we want to take that information, compare it against what our drainage models say, and utilize it for future planning. If we have a 200-year storm and now this new hotspot comes up, okay, we need to make sure that we're looking at that and potentially putting some money towards planning and mitigation for those efforts. But, yeah, I would tell you that we use that data to identify hotspots. A lot of the hotspots are existing hotspots, right? And so we're working towards that, but we'll have a full after-action review, and a lot of departments will have internal after-action reviews as well to make changes on how we approach certain things.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Pillier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a quick clarification. Maybe this is what you might have been alluding to on the FMA. That's the Flood Mitigation Assistance Program. We, as a parish, we submit our application with all our sub-applicants. That's the recipients of the grants, like a me or you. But we submit that as one application to FEMA. We are in a competitive situation with all the other counties in the United States, and that might be what you're talking about. And the reason there is that they look at a number of criteria. How many people have flood insurance? How many floods have you had? What was the severity of the flood? And then that it weighs in, and they have a factor system that they use to grade you. And so our parish sees success or not success based upon the grade. So the more people we have in the flood insurance program, the better off we're going to be. The worse the damage is, the better off. That's a bad term. That's not better off. It's just the more qualified we will be to be eligible for the program. And that might be what they were talking about. Thank you.
So Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we've had a lot of discussion about projects and improvements in some areas in 2020 that did not flood in this particular event. We have identified some, and I do want to mention that St. Rose has identified some areas that have had some challenges recently, both April 10th as well as in this storm, and I want to recognize those that have never flooded before and let them know it is important for them to call the EOC, even if they haven't, and take care of the situation. I know this is the first time for a few people, and as well as, understand that the administration is looking at the operational aspects of some of the stations, and we're trying to figure out, basically how we can make it better while we're waiting on for these planned projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniels. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, October 7th, 2024, 6 p.m., council chambers, the courthouse in Hanville. 2024-0318, 2024-0320, 2024-0321. Copies have been made and placed at your folders for 2024-0322. Ordinances introduced for publication, public hearing, October 29th, 2024, 9 a.m., Thursday, October 31st, 2024, 1 p.m., and Monday, November 4th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the courthouse in Hanville. 2024 ordinance to approve and adopt the appropriations of funds for the St. Charles Parish Consolidated Operating and Capital Budgets for 2025. Ordinance is scheduled for public hearings introduced at a previous meeting. 2024-0298, an ordinance creating the Highway 90 Economic Development District Number 1 of the Parish of St. Charles, the state of Louisiana, to encourage economic development projects in accordance with and as authorized by Part 2 of Chapter 27, Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950, as amended, defining the boundaries thereof, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. Mr. Fauché.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, everyone. We are finally at the end of the process to create this district. With your approval tonight, the property owners within the district will be able to apply for a property tax incentive if they choose to invest and improve their property. I know we talked about this quite a bit, so I'll just shut up and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Fauché. File number 2024-0298 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, Please cast your votes for file number 2024-0298. And that motion passes unanimously. All right, 2024-0299, an ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish Codes of Ordinances to revise Chapter 3, Alcoholic Beverages, Article 1, in general, Section 3-1, Location Restrictions, A, to add a procedure allowing the parish council to waive the 500-foot distance requirement for the issuance of a retailer package house alcohol license. Mr. Albert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alcohol sales are one of the more restricted activities within the parish. There are locational requirements that must be met before the sheriff's office will issue the alcoholic beverage permit to any applicant. Currently, any operation, convenience store, supermarket that wishes to sell alcohol has to abide by the 500-foot locational restriction. What this code amendment does is allows for a process for that to be reduced, much in the same way that restaurants currently have the ability to reduce the distance. This allows the distance waiver to be taken down to 0 with the approval of the council and the written consent of any of the protected uses. So the administration's in support of this, and I appreciate you for considering. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albert. File number 2024-0299 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? So Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Albert, what is the procedure here for, the proposed procedure for the parish council to waive? Is that going to be the same resolution process?
It's the same thing,
Okay.
resolution. The
that you
applicant
have
would,
in section for the restaurants? It's going to be
Yes.
the same process?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Any further council discussion? Michael, I do have one question I want to ask you. That is, will it still go through planning commission and then come this way, or it will be an applicant come straight to the council, or will it go through the planning commission?
none of the waiver requests go to the commission. They all go straight to council for resolution.
Okay, so it will be a waiver one.
Correct. My office
Okay.
just does the initial work to present it to the council.
Thank you. Any further council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0299. Motion passes unanimously. 2024-0302, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 2, final for the Primrose Canal Cleaning and Improvements Phase 1A, project number P210202, to increase the contract by $30,720 and increase the contract time by 6 days. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the final change order for this project. There is still a little work to be done out there to grade out some of the areas that are, that have degraded basically due to the storm that we just had. We had some areas. They will be back out to do that. This does not give them a final, on the project, but this is the final change order. And I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. File number 2024-0302 is now open for public hearing. If anyone would like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0320. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0303, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with NCMC LLC for the Destrehan Wastewater Treatment Plant Aeration Basin Rehabilitation, project number S211202, in the amount of $3,952,000. Mr. DeGeneres.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This project stems from Hurricane Ida. So we took severe damage to both aeration basins during that storm. We looked at several alternatives to either restore it to original or to modify it. We went with a modified project, and this is to bring it back to the 6 MGD plant that it is designed for.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. File number 2024-0303 is now open for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public hearing is now closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Jewell.
David, do you want to just maybe give us a little bit more information, just for the folks at home watching and the council? The old system we had, rotating aeration basins, Hurricane Ida folded those up. We got them back into kind of like a manageable shape and are kind of limping along with that. And tell them about how we bring the aeration kind of below surface.
They're rotating spinning bridges with diffusers on them. So we're going to actually eliminate the rotating bridges. We're going to make them fixed bridges now and put plate diffusers in the bottom of the tanks. So that's going to cut down on maintenance for the rotation. We had problems probably every 2 or 3 months. The wheels bearings blow off and they roll off. So we've had damage to it constantly, and it's a lot of maintenance. I think we're going to go to a less maintenance thing. I mean, we have to change diffusers once every 4 years. That's about $150,000 every time we do that for each basin. So I think it's just a win-win down the line. It's going to be a little bit more efficient for us. We're going to put in new blowers at the same time. We're going to go to 3 blowers instead of 6 that were there before. So they're a little bit bigger, but I think they're more energy efficient in the long run. So new technology. Everything at that plant was over 25 years old. So you can imagine there is newer technology, more efficiency down the line. So I think it's a win-win for us in the long run.
Thanks, David.
Any other council discussion? Glad to see it, the modernization of it and the capacity and the efficiency. And I think you'll be able to give us a good product. Yes. Thank you. All right, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0303. Motion passes unanimously. 2024-0304, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of a contract with Jones Construction Solutions, LLC, for the East Bank Bridge Park Improvements, project number RECEB123, in the amount of $3,693,000. Mr. Foray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the council, Parish President Jew. We're actually going to be replicating exactly what we did at West Bank Bridge Park. And you know what kind of fanfare we got for that. It was incredible. 2 turf fields, new fencing, scoreboards. We're relocating the batting cage from under the bridge to along field 1 to access it a little bit, and then fixing up the basketball court that's existing there to kind of make more of a full basketball court to alleviate some of the strains during basketball and volleyball season, to have another avenue for our teams to practice. We are going to be also real proud to enhance the parking. As you know, middle school games and our programming overflow usually is along River Road, which is a safety concern for us. This will eliminate some of that. Now, some of the big events, we'll still have to maybe park a few, but we are gaining many spots by concrete in that parking lot. So we're excited. I know our East Bank residents, ever since we broke ground and started the ribbon cutting over here, have been anticipating this improvement, and we are too. So I'd answer any questions you may have, and I would appreciate your support on this very important project for our department. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Foray. File number 2024-0304 is now for public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item? Please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Perrier.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess first of all, I'm very thankful that this is about to happen. I know of many people who are excited about that. Given the recent floods that we've had, there are some people that ask questions like, can some of this money not be perhaps used, at least that which was transferred from the general fund, which was about $1.78 million. And so in drilling down, I've gotten a little bit of information. There's a $750,000 state surplus money that's supposed to be coming toward this as well, and $500,000 from Valero. So that's $1.25 million. And the question would be, could we wait a little bit longer so we get into the budget hearing so this money flows to us and that this money could be returned to the general fund for use on other projects? Just a question. And I'd love to have that discussion.
Yeah, I can maybe take that. So what I'll say to you is that we have a lot of park improvements that are planned for both the East and the West Bank. I know it's a priority for a lot of our residents in making sure that we can provide the best facilities as possible for them. When we get into the bid process, a clock does start, and I can let Mr. Oob talk a little bit more about how that clock starts when it comes to the notice of award and actually bidding of a project. But what I'll tell you is that I don't think that moving this money is going to be a difference maker on any projects. My budget is about to come out in the next few weeks. In fact, I think, Grant, you're going to email it to them if you already haven't tonight. So he did. You're going to see that we have, when you add wastewater and waterworks capital improvements, you're going to see $180+ million. Is that safe to say, Grant? $170 million in drainage, public works, capital improvements, infrastructure, and you're going to see about $16 million in recreation. All the projects that we would like to fund that we believe are going to be ready to go next year or can be ready next year are going to be funded. So I think that the work that we've done to get, I think it's probably 1.7 million now. We have 500,000 from Valero, 750,000 from the state, and then another 500,000 from the state. So I think that overall that we're going to be able to stretch those dollars further within recreation with the money that we save here, and I think it's going to be overall good for all of our facilities across the parish. But I would tell you that, and Corey, just talk a little bit about the process on bidding.
Yeah, so with regard to the process, once the council appropriates the budget and the bids go out, everything triggers from the bid opening date. And that bid opening date in this project was August 20th. So within 45 days of the bid opening, the award has to happen, which that deadline is October 3rd. So this being the last council meeting before the October 3rd deadline, an award needs to take place at this point. It's interesting that in accordance with the revised statutes, once a bid is open, it can only be rejected by the political entity, the public entity, for just cause and some other enumerated reasons, the main one being that if all the bidders come out higher than the estimated project. Even if we'd assume there was a just cause under the revised statutes to allow a rejection of all the bids, we would have to wait over 1 year to bid this project again, which, as y'all know, that increases cost. That also is a likelihood that maybe the contributions from Valero and the state could disappear. So there is a risk to delaying this, and with the October 3rd deadline being now, I don't think it's even prudent to even table this matter at this time.
Mr. Daniels.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to put my 2 cents in. I know that our area experienced flooding. I know we're all anxious and itchy to do something. However, this is a project that was on the books of the 2024 budget. I think for simplicity and the fact that East Bank should not be deprived of this project at this moment with this time frame over the fact that we just had a hurricane. And I know the administration and the council are going to work very hard towards these drainage improvements. However, we're very excited about receiving upgrades at the East Bank, and I don't want us to wait.
Yeah, and we excited we were able to bring the parish costs down by getting the outside funding. I mean, that's huge for us and it's huge for y'all, so y'all can do some of the things in your own districts to help out y'all residents. So I understand how you're feeling, Mr. Peel. Yeah, I definitely understand that.
Any further council discussion? It's a balancing act, right? And that's what we hired him to do. elected, balancing it. People do have concerns. We all got the same emails. We all get the same calls and things, but we need to make sure we are making St. Charles Parish a whole. And this recreation opportunity in Norco, the recreation opportunities in Ashton soccer fields, all of that, we still need to continue forward with that. We're going to keep working the drainage projects. We got a special projects committee meeting October 7th to review all of this. It's all on us. So, again, there was some questions and there was some emails that went around, but I want to assure you that this is a good project, and we need this project, and yes, we need the drainage projects, and I support it 100%. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you.
Please cast your votes for file number 2024-0304. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Forey. All righty, 2024-0305. An ordinance to amend the St. Charles Parish Code of Ordinances, Chapter 8, Elections, Section 8.2, Visible Voting Precinct Boundaries and Polling Places, to provide for a permanent change of polling places for precincts 4-1 and 4-1A. Mr. Commodore.
Yes, as a result of concerns of, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a result of concerns of Alamance Elementary School floor area not being large enough to host presidential election, a permanent change is required to facilitate the election. I'm going to make a motion to amend it as scripted.
All right, I have a motion by Mr. Commodore to amend. I need a second, please. I have a motion as second by Ms. Fonseca to amend file number 2024-0305 by adding the verbiage authorizing the parish president to execute the polling lease agreement. All right, file number 2024-0305 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding the amendment, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Is there any council discussion on the amendment? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes to please cast your votes to amend file number 2024-0305. Okay, and that motion passes unanimously. All right, file number 2024-0305 as amended is now open for a public hearing. If there's anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right, seeing none, our public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion on it? Seeing none, please cast your votes on file number 2024-0305 as amended. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Commodore. All right, next on our agenda, persons to address the council. 2024-0316, Mr. Drew Childs, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, 2023 Assessment of Waterford, Unit 3.
That's correct. And thank you very much, council, for giving me the opportunity to present to you this evening. As you said, I'm the current resident inspector at Waterford 3 Nuclear Plant. I've been assigned there for about 4 years now. Every nuclear plant across the country has at least 2 resident inspectors assigned to it. One of the new ones, my colleague Kevin Cook-Smith back there, he just arrived on site a few weeks ago. So Francine was nice enough to be here to welcome him in Louisiana fashion. So anyways, as a overview, what we have going on for you today is going to be presenting the 2023 annual assessment of Waterford 3 Nuclear Plant. I'd briefly like to talk about who we are, what we do, discuss the performance that we had in 2023, and then of course I'll open up the questions at the end here. Now the only thing I'm going to read off a slide for you tonight is this one right here, just to stress its importance. And this is the NRC mission. Everything we do is based on meeting this. So as NRC, we license and regulate the nation's civilian use of radioactive materials. And this is to provide reasonable assurance for adequate protection of safety, of public health and safety, promote the common defense and security, and to protect the environment. All things that I know we all hold dear to have the utmost importance for. So it brings the question, of course, is how do we accomplish this mission? And there are many ways that we do that, but the one for our focus today and the results is going to be through what we call the reactor oversight process. This is the program that we at the NRC use to inspect, measure, and assess safety and security performance at all nuclear power plants. And now we have a focus that very much is on plant activities that are involving the greatest impact to safety and risk that's involved. So the first phase of that is our inspection. So the reactor oversight process uses a variety of NRC inspectors that monitor plant activities. The program includes baseline inspection activities. These are typically performed by the resident inspectors themselves. And additionally, there are a variety of other periodic and reactive inspections, and those are performed by our regional inspectors or headquarters inspectors. And they're utilized to identify any potential issues that may be going on. Now, for the things that we measure nuclear plant performance by monitoring what we call performance indicators. These use a lot of objective data to monitor plant performance, and this is in a focus of 3 strategic areas. The areas are reactor safety, radiation safety, and safeguards, or security. Now, a lot of things that we monitor for that, a couple examples to give you an idea of what those are. One would be any of the on-plan plant trips that occur at site, any unavailability of reactor protection safety systems involved, and we look at emerging preparedness drills to see the results of those to make sure that they've been adequate. So between inspections and what we measure, we then take this information and we assess it. This is both for inspection and performance indicators. What this does, the way we assess it is based on a color-coded system. This ranges, both performance indicators and inspections get assigned a color for green, white, yellow, and red. Green being the least, little to no risk safety significance, all the way up to red being the most. So for inspection results, for example, we use what's called the significance determined process. When we get an issue, it's found something that we find to be in violation of any NRC requirement or perhaps a self-imposed licensee standard, then we have something that's called a performance deficiency, and this gets evaluated, determined if it's something that's more than minor we need to look at, and then it'll get assigned a color. If it's something that's greater than green, that's something that's typically higher safety significance. That's something that inspectors myself don't do. We have senior reactor analysts that get involved and assign that color to it. And then we can go on and look at what actions need to be taken on from that point. We also do a very similar, but much simpler assessment of performance indicators. For those areas that we look at, they have already set values that we look at. There's, for example, at the green area, these are expected trends that we want to see. If they start to trend in the other direction, that color can increase as well, and that could also require another action. Now, these colors are important because these findings for inspections of performance indicators tell us how we assess the plant and any actions that we take. So moving forward, from this part, before I go into those actions, I'd like to go over the Waterford 3 results. So as you can see from up here, all the performance indicators that Waterford 3 that we monitor in the 2023 cycle were green performance indicators. All indicators were as expected. In addition, there were 8 green severity level 4 inspection findings, meaning they were of very low risk safety significance. So in this, you can see where the action matrix has some indication of a little bit visual indicator to show where it goes from green right to yellow to red there. Now, I want to go over that first so you can see here some of the results that can happen should any of the performance indicators get a little bit more severe or inspection findings that get more risk significant results.
Mr. Childs, I got to hold you up for 1
Yes,
minute.
sir.
You're going to need some additional time, so we're going to have to vote. So can I get a motion and a second, please, to approve some more minutes? Got a motion by Ms. Fonseca and second by Ms. Wilson. Please cast your votes to approve more minutes. And that motion passes unanimously. Ms. Childs, you have 3 more minutes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that should
Thank
be
you.
plenty. Okay, so as you can see, as you increase the significance of this, what it essentially recalls is like additional oversight and inspection activities that can result in there. Going, and then as you said, the red is the most significant in there. So some of these, once you get into these levels, some of these actions might mean additional meetings with the utility that we have, additional inspections, additional reviews, additional actions needing to be taken by the utility. And if anything's continued to decline, then that could also result in civil orders or even suspension of the utility's license. Being, you know, we're looking at like really worst case scenario, extremely rare. I don't even know of that kind of stuff happening at this time. So having seen the results here of Waterford being so far in the green, do you guys have any questions or further explanation that I can provide you on this? And that, of course, is open to the public as well, that it's here.
Ms. Fonseca?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. I just wanted to say that I had the opportunity to tour Waterford 3 last Thursday, and I was very impressed with pretty much everything throughout the tour, safety, security, and everyone seemed to be very knowledgeable of the facility. So I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you all for what you do to keep us safe, and thank you to Entergy Plant Manager and staff for that as well.
Okay, no, thank you. That's the first I've had a very outside opinion on there, so I appreciate that perspective.
I remember seeing at least one or two faces that is in the audience tonight that day. Thank you.
Mr. Perrier?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What is the severity level for inspection?
Using that, there's different levels. I use the colors as the easiest indicator, but there's also severity levels that can be assigned. Severity level 4 being the least significant, so it's kind of associated with the green level. And then they go level to 3, 2, 1, and then kind of goes along with the severity level 4 with green, 3 with white, 2 with yellow, and 1 to red.
Thank you, Mr. Childs, I appreciate it. I know it's been a long evening, so trust me, as I just completed my radiation safety officers training about a month ago, and I'm good to see the levels, excellent, and what they're doing in energy, so keep up the good work. Thank y'all for coming.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, resolutions, 2024-0317, a resolution to grant permission to the Knights of Columbus Red Church Council number 3634, 375 Spruce Street, Norco, Louisiana, 70079, to solicit contributions in the intersections of I-310 and River Road, Highway 48, by the East Bank Bridge Park, Ormond Boulevard and Airline Drive, US 61, Ormond Boulevard and River Road, the Norco Fresh Market on Apple Street, Winn-Dixie at 12519 Airline Drive, US 61, and River Road Market at 13572 River Road, on October 18th and 19th, or October 25th and 26th, 2024, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. This is the annual fund drive raiser for the Knights of Columbus's projects, scholarships, helping people in. So they've done this for the past, 20 years, so I will ask your support of this. File number 2024-0317 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address to the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, our public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0317. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings, Housing Authority, Tuesday, September 24th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Hospital Service District Number 1, Wednesday, September 25th, 2024, at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. The Lafourche Basin Levy District, Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024, at 6 p.m. at the Lafourche Basin Levy District Office, 21380 Highway 20 in Vacherie. Operations, Maintenance, and Construction Management Committee meeting, Monday, October 7th, 2024, at 4 p.m. The council chambers. The matters before this committee will be the capital drainage projects, maintenance relating to conveyance, scheduling major canal and pump station excavations and maintenance of pump stations, operations regarding evaluation of system readiness, training, cross-department cooperation, SCADA, and additional field instrumentations. Please note it will be a 4 p.m. start meeting. The St. Charles Parish Council, Monday, October 7, 2024, at 6 p.m. Announcements. Public hearings to consider the proposed 2025 capital and consolidated operating budget, Tuesday, October 29, 2024, at 9 a.m., Thursday, October 31st, 2024, at 1 p.m., and Monday, November 4th, 2024, at 6 p.m. Important dates for the November 5th, 2024 election. Monday, October 7th, 2024 is the last day to register to vote in person or by mail. Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 is the last day to register to vote online at govote.com. Early voting, Friday, October 18th, 2024, and Saturday, October 19th, 2024. Monday, October 21st to Saturday, October 26th, 2024, and Monday, October 28th till Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. It will be closed Sunday, October 20th, 2024, and closed Sunday, October 27th, 2024. The times will be 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., the West Bank at the Courthouse, 15045 River Road in Hanville, and the East Bank will be at the Arterbury Building, 14564 River Road in New Sarpy. Monday, November 4th, 2024, will be the last day to request an absentee by mail ballot, and Monday, November 24th, 2024, will be the last day also for registered to receive the voted absentee ballot. And Tuesday, November 5th, 2024 is Election Day, and the polls will be open 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I need a motion and a second to adjourn. I have a motion by Ms. Skiba, second by Ms. O'Daniels. Please cast your votes to adjourn. And that motion passes unanimously. Let's have a great evening. We're officially adjourned.